So the length, width, and height all are going to be the same because it's a cube. There's a couple things I need to set up once in 3ds Max, and I'll never need to set them again. So customize unit setup. Again, this is all recorded. We are metric, so we're going to use meters. And happily, 1 meter in 3ds Max should, if we're doing this right, correspond to 1 meter in Unity. Okay, so the units that are in Unity, 1 in Unity, it should be 1 here as well. Okie dokes. But just be careful, you need to be metric because by default it goes to like, I think, inches or something ridiculous. And not only here, you need to go to system unit setup. 1 unit equals to 1 meter. Okie dokes. Okie dokes. That's still 40 meters. The other thing is this grid size. I might want each of these to be a meter, so I can use that as a reference. So I'll need to right click on this button here. Snaps, it's really weird. Go to the home grid, grid spacing 1 meter. So you can see my 40 meter cube is actually gigantic, right? So this is a major problem that a lot of people have. They'll model something, they'll bring it to Unity, and then it's huge or tiny or whatever it is. So scaling is a big deal. So let me go back to here and let's make an actual one small cube. And let's make it 1 by 1 by 1. Oh, tab 1, 1. Cool. And I have this cube that should be 1 meters cube. The other thing I want to do is I want to make sure this is, see that like cross there? That is the center of the platform. I want to make sure that the model is kind of like snapped to there, just makes it easier. So I will turn on snaps. You can click on that. And you can see you can snap now, or you can hit S, and I should be able to snap my model to the center. And it's snapped there. It's perfectly in the center now. All right, you can snap to any of the grid points. And that's again why setting up the grid is so important. So I'll set that up there in the middle. Turn on F4, my edge faces. So I'm gonna try and make like this kind of crate. See, do I have the picture for it? Big texture there. No, I'll just make one. It's fine. So I'm gonna go to Photoshop and make a texture, but that I'll use later. So first I'm going to try and get the model. I'm going to look polygon, can't edit it because I need to add the edit poly modifier. Cool. And select polygons. So depending on which of the selections I have, you see on the right the types of options that I have change, and there are tons of options, so don't worry. Like, I know it's a lot of stuff, but we will get used to this. So first, if I select this, that's a polygon selection. Selecting that polygon because it shows me a bunch of stuff here. I can do stuff like an inset, or what an inset does. Ooh, sure. Kind of makes an inset polygon there, right? So let me do that. Insets in. If I want it to be exact, I can click the square. And in 3ds Max is always the case. If you want an exact thing, you click the square side. And now you can tell it how much to inset by. Cool? Alright. Then hit tick. Grand stuff. If I want to do the next one, if I click on it, I can inset by the same exact amount. Ooh. Just by hitting that square button again. Yeah. Is that doing it correctly? Let me just check if that's correct. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. If I look at it though, if I turn off the edge faces, it still looks like a pure flat face box because all I've done is make more segments, but I haven't actually changed the topology. Topology is like the surface area. So what I do need to do is, for example, I can inset. Oh no, sorry, not inset, extrude. So I can either extrude out, but in this case I want to extrude in. So I'll create like a little crate shape like that. Cool. And now when I turn off the edge faces, you can see, oh, it actually looks like a crate. It's got the actual edges on it, right? And I can do that all the way around. So let me just extrude that as well. Now I can keep doing it one by one for all of these, but generally in 3D modeling there's always smarter ways. So let me just select everything else that's not. Hold Control to keep selecting. And go to Inset with the square. It's insetting all of them, but I can click here. Instead of a group, inset them individually. And now they're all inset individually. Am I insetting this correctly? I don't know. It's doing weird stuff. Yeah, it should be that. And the same, I can extrude them all by selecting them all at the same time. Extrude. Boop. Done. So now I have a crate. Great stuff. But it just looks like a box, single color, nothing on it. What I can do then is a process called unwrapping. Okay, and to unwrap, I can add a texture onto it. So I'm going to create a new texture. What size should it be? .248 works. 1024 works. Any power of 2. So let me just do 248. 248. Cool. And I'll try and find a let's do a metal texture. That one works pretty well. Just resize that to fit. And I will do a wood texture. That one works alright. Does that work? Yeah, it's fine. Let's put that like here. And I'll save that. I'll just save it on the desktop for now. So create texture. Okay. Cool. So in 3ds Max, that material is not assigned yet. Okay, I have that picture, an image, but in 3D modeling, you always need to create a material. You all should know from Unity, right? You have a texture, you apply the texture to a material, then you apply the material to an object. So if I have a cube, object, a material goes on it, but on that material you can add multiple maps. So you can have the diffuse, so that's color. You can have the metallic map. You can have occlusion. So you can have loads of different maps, and all the maps go to one material. The material gets applied to the object. That makes sense? Okay, and you've all seen this in Unity, I think. So in 3ds Max, materials are done by M. This is the complex material. We don't need this. We'll go to mode and we'll go to compact material editor. So this one is the simpler one. So if I go in this, you see diffuse. Let me just add that. I want to go to bitmap. You click the little square to add it. Okay. I'll look for that image. Drag that on here. And you see it change, but it didn't show. For some reason, I don't know why, by default, it doesn't show it. So you need to click this button, Show Shaded Material Viewport. Don't know why it does that. So you can see it's added the material to my crate, but it's not done it properly. It's gonna just slap them on all sides. And the edges here, I kind of want these edges to be the metal part and the inside part to be the wood part. But 3ds Max doesn't know that. So you need to do something called unwrapping. And that's a process where you have to tell 3ds Max how to be unwrapped to the material. So how the model is supposed to be unwrapped. So to do that, we need to add a unwrap modifier. Now I have to make sure at this point, do not have any of these on. I cannot stress this enough. Don't have any of these on. Because if you have one of these on and you select something, it thinks you only want to affect that area. Okay? But I want to affect the whole thing. So turn everything off. and go to unwrap. Cool. And you see these green edges? That's showing me like I'm in unwrap mode. I can turn off the edges by going to map seams, turn them off. Cool. So let me just unwrap this polygon here. I'll open UV editor. So you can see when I select one of these, it corresponds to where it looks like in the image. There's no image here, but if I go here, I should be able to see, click, there it is. Okay, so it shows me this because you're able to check, like if you're doing way more complicated shapes, you're using these to check whether stuff is stretch or in areas that it shouldn't be. But in this case, I just want to see my image, so I'll click there and set my image. So you can see that this area I want to be just the wood, but it's selecting everything, and I don't want that, right? So I can scale it in here. They're both connected. Scale. Oh, scale here. And move it here. And you can kind of see it's taking up that area. And now that is wooden inside. Does that kind of make sense? All right. There is a problem, which is, if I click on this again, if I move this, you see the way it's still connected? Which means it's affecting these polygons here, which are these guys in here. So I don't know if you can see, if I move them, you see the way they're being affected? Because they're still connected. So what I might want to do is I might snap them away, right? Like I might just get rid of, like cut out that polygon shape. So if I click here, I will go to, where is it? Quick view. Where is it? There's that little button here, this little quick planar map. Click that and it'll just basically cut this out, and you see it's separated now, so it's just by itself. It's still being affected here, you can see it, and I can just scale it down by itself and move that to where I want it to be. And again, I can do all of them at the same time, so hopefully this should work. Quick planar map. Oh no, probably shouldn't have done that, so I'll just do them individually. And the same for these, you want to select them all at the same time. Select them all, quick planar map. You see the way it's kind of shaped them into the right shape. And you'll see that it looks like the actual texture behind it now. Cool. I'll just need to keep doing that for all of them. This is the simplest way of unwrapping, but it only really works for objects that are kind of quite flat and quite inorganic, right? Because it's a planar map, which means it flattens it out. It just takes like a flat screenshot of it. Is everyone okay with what I'm doing? Alright, have I got all of them? Got all of them. Just need to do this one as well. Come on. We're almost done. Okay, done. Happy days. Grand. So I have a box crate and it works fine, and that can go into Unity. So to export this, I'm happy with this. Unwrap UVW is there. Republic, this is all ready to go. Grand. Just select it. File, export, export selected, and an FBX is the default option. Just use an FBX. Okay. And that's just a file format. So I'm going to say create for Unity, save. It's going to give me a load of options here. If I open this, I'm going to leave most of this the same. I don't have any animation, so I'm going to turn off animation. And I don't have any cameras, don't have any lights. And I'm going to turn off embed media. And I can just hit OK, and that should appear on my desktop now. Grand. So that's exported. This crate's ready to go. And I'll just open up Unity. So I'm going to make a new Unity project called AssetDesign2019. 20. Create. Cool. So one thing to remember when you're in Unity, it's a boring thing, but it really helps you when you're, especially if you're working remotely or working with other teams. Be neat. So like right click, create folder, models. So all my models are going to go in here. So import new asset. Let's import that. Desktop. Where is it? Import crate.fbx. Crate for unity.fbx. That's imported there. Grand job. Happy to go. And I can just put that in there. And it is it 1 by 1 by 1? More or less. And you can change the settings here. There you go. Convert units 1 meter file to 1 meter Unity. If it's a little bit off, that's fine. You can do a scale factor here. So it can be like 5 and hit apply. Where's apply? And it just scales it to 5 times more, or 1. The reason why I'm doing it here is because I want the base model to be the right size. You can also obviously just resize it in the inspector like that. Okay, so the crates come in, looks grand, except it doesn't have any textures. So I need to import the textures. So again, create folder. I do prefer to do it like this. You can do it whatever way you want. Materials, and I will import new asset, import that texture. Cool. And I'll create a material for this. Create material. Call that create material. Create material will go in the crate. Boop. And then this goes into albedo. And you can see it works. Happy days. We have a crate, right? I can obviously change the metallic here and the smoothness of it. So the only thing is, because our crate has 2 different types of materials, it's got metal and it's got wood, it doesn't quite work because the wood's not supposed to be metallic and the wood's not supposed to be smooth. The metal can be smooth, but not the wood and the metal. Sorry, not the wood. The other thing is, there's no normal map. So it looks grand if I add in a little spotlight here, or point light even, and set that to red so you can see it, or obviously. It just looks like it's a flat surface. Now it's not too bad because the picture is quite nice, so you don't really notice it, but maybe I can get some detail in there. So what I can do is, there are many ways to create a normal map. This is the hacky way. So I'm just going to duplicate this and add that into the normal map area. Boop. And fix now. And that should have worked, I think. Does that work? Oh no, maybe I need to do a black and white version. Oh, create from grayscale. Let's go from here. Normal map, create from grayscale. So create from grayscale means it will convert that image to black and white, and anywhere that's black it'll pretend it's a dip, anywhere that's white it'll pretend it's a bump. So it's a hack way of doing it, but it does work for most images. Bumpiness is how bumpy it is, and whether it's sharp or smooth. It's too smooth. Apply. There we go. You can see that? But you see it's like really overdone and too much. So I might be able to change the bumpiness here, apply, or even in here the normal map strength. You can change the normal map strength. So that's it really high. It's way too much. But you can kind of see what it's doing. Now there is a weakness of this method, which, as you can see, it kind of like grabs any white area and makes it go up, even if you may not want it to be up and down. So it just converts any dark area lower, any lighter area up. Okay, so but it is just a very quick and easy way of making a normal map if you need to. We'll look at other ways in the future. Right, so I have that. So it looks a little detailed, a bit better than, it's probably a bit too much still. So you kind of don't want it to be too over the top. You want it to be subtle looking. Grand. And then I'm going to try to get my metallic. So instead of having everything be metal, I'm going to try so only the metal areas are metal and only the wood areas are not metallic. So let's do that in Photoshop. So I have this image. I can use that as a reference. So the way Unity sees metal is, again, in terms of black and white. So I actually can't remember which one is black and which one's white, but we'll find out. So if I make an image like this and make that all black, no, I'll make that all white. I'm pretty sure white means it's fully metallic and black means it's not. And that little area where I had the little area where the wood is, I'll make that black. So that hopefully should mean all of this is 100% metal and all of this is 100% not metal. If I use gray, depending on where the gray is, it'll go anywhere from 100% not metal to a little bit metal to a little more metal to 100% metal. Cool? Right, so depending on how grayscale it is. But right now I'm just going to do black and white. Let's save that, see how that works. PNG, create metal. Go back here, import that, create metal. And again, because I have the one material, but I can use that map and put that map here. Boop. There we go. So you see that's all super, super metallic, but the inside's not. Okay? The smoothness is still controlled by that slider, because smoothness is a bit confusing in Unity. Smoothness is done by how transparent the image is. So if I go back here, if I want, let's say, the metallic area to be very, very smooth, but this area in the middle not to be that smooth. Let me just do that, see if I can do that. So I'll make that a little bit more transparent. So it's still black, but I'm making it very see-through. Okay, and Unity should hopefully understand that the more see-through it is, the less smooth it is. Okay, so save that again. I'll just overwrite that image. Does this kind of make sense what I'm doing? Yeah? Okay. And I'll need to re-import it. So that's the second version. So let's see. Yeah, you can kind of see that that has stayed smooth, but the inside, you see the way it's not affecting the wood part anymore? Only the metal part's getting smoother now, because I kind of made that little wood, the wood part a little bit more transparent. Okay, that's how you kind of make a pretty-ish looking thing, and that took us like 20 minutes to make. And obviously, it's a very hacky way. I've done a lot of shortcuts, but for now, to get stuff into your model, it works fine. Grant. There's a bunch of other different maps and stuff. We're not going to do them yet. The only other thing I might show you is, like, you all know about tiling, right? You can just keep tiling that same material. So if I had a wall, for example, I could, let's create a 3D object. What? Say a wall. And instead of like having loads of little walls, I can have just a giant wall, slap the same material onto it, and I can tile the material so it looks like I have loads of different, like, okay. And because I've added all that detail, it looks like it's a very, very detailed wall, but it's not really. It's just It's just a quad, which is like literally just one polygon, but it looks like it has loads of detail. Okay, so a lot of the tricks of how to get more detail into a game engine are generally tricks to do with materials. And polygons, we usually try to keep them as low as possible. Any questions? Yeah. I made an image in Photoshop. Yeah, and it doesn't matter what image I use. No, I can even keep editing it right now because it's just drawing from this image here. So if I open this in open with Photoshop, come on, buddy, there we go, Photoshop, and like I don't know. And just save that. Unity should automatically update this. Come on, buddy. Let's save it. Texture PNG. Oh yeah, there you go. Update. Cool. And it just updates. So it doesn't care what you put in there. It just automatically keeps using that. Cool. Any other questions? Grand. We will probably leave